Hey y'all, this is the legendary Sonny G, Sonny with an O, not a U.
And this is your boy Sterling Moody.
And we are Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast.
And thank you for listening to us. So make sure you tune in to Effa Podcast, a real N-word podcast where we talk about
real N-word stuff.
That's it. So make sure y'all tune in.
Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast. Welcome to Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast.
I am the legendary Sonny G, and to my left is my co-host.
What's up, y'all? My name is Sterling Moody.
And today's topic is a little heavy, and it's just because I have a lot to say on it. I'm very opinionated on the I'm just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
So the whole states that are making it illegal for women to get abortions under any circumstances,
which is really creepy.
Super creepy.
Really creepy.
Especially when you think about the fact that this is a bunch of old white men making this decision. There are like no women involved in the bills that are being signed for this. They're all old white balding men with mistresses who probably need to keep abortions on board, but are saying, pro-life and the baby needs a chance. And then there are so many different reasons why an abortion doesn't have to do with necessarily the child needing to be born, like pro-life, give the child a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, first off, there are ectopic pregnancies, which are pregnancies which endanger the life of the mother or the fetus or both.
And see, that's the type of thing that my mom was going through. Like when she was, having kids. Like my mom had 4 miscarriages, and then had me, and then had 2 miscarriages, and then had my sister. And she was determined that she wanted a kid, but the doctors, there were certain doctors who were like, you probably should terminate this
right.
pregnancy. And so I've seen both sides of the coin, and I feel like we really need to be pro-choice on both sides.
Yeah.
If someone wants to keep a kid, let them try to keep a kid. If someone doesn't want to keep their kid, hey, they might be making a great decision, because think about it. I know so many moms that are horrible
parents. Horrible parents.
And the best thing for that child would have been
if they were
to go back to God and get a reroll. You know what I'm saying? Like you ever played video games and they're like
to respawn someplace, to respawn with another parent.
Yeah, like, man, you can get better stats if you just reroll. You're like, hey, what if we spawned you over at the Johnson house? Like,
right.
Like, hey, man, like, I mean, like the way I feel about religion and stuff, I feel like, hey, man, like if that kid had died, I'm sure God would have let him reset, pick a different safe state.
Even if you don't say, okay, religion is you don't even think the kid's gonna come back or anything. Here's the thing. So
I would rather die than live in hell. And
here's the thing: you're gonna terminate. If you terminate the pregnancy, like say, the mother's gonna be abusive, right? You're terminating that child before they have a chance to form any memories, to form a bond with them. You know what I'm saying? You're terminating them before they have a chance to actually have a life.
Yes.
People are talking about life starts at conception. Life starts when you can start remembering, or when you start, when you're human, when your 5 senses identify, this is my mother, she's supposed to take care of me. This is my father, he's supposed to take care of me. And then you start seeing their fists coming towards you, or other stuff if they're abusing you in other ways.
Yeah,
that to me seems like you probably should have saved that child that trauma,
and you would have been way better off.
They wouldn't, what I'm saying, a child who's taken at the fetal stage has no memories of any sort of abuse, but once they're out, stuff starts affecting them from the minute they see it, hear it, experience it.
So in a previous episode, I talked about how my mom beat me one day, right? And I know it was because of stress, but I've seen way worse, because my mom used to work at DFAX. And when my mom worked at DFAX, she would take us out with her to go handle her cases, because kids they'll omit information from an adult, because they feel like, oh man, this adult's going to tell the other adults, and this adult is over here touching me or beating me. And you would have kids who had real bad behavior issues because they were being abused. And you sit down and you talk to the kid and you find out this kid is just a step away from, I would really love to die right now. Then not have to ever deal with this stuff. So my mom knew that, and so she worked real hard to make sure she could put kids in proper case homes. And there's levels to it, because a lot of people think like, oh man, they got like foster parents. No, so you have foster parents and you have adoptive parents, which is different, and then you have farms. And the way a farm works, and that's not a real term, but it is run just like a farm.
Right.
Like you have people who adopt, like they
it's
don't
really
adopt
a
the
detention
kid.
center,
but
for kids without parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get all the way like that. Like it's like, so what happens is when you adopt a kid, or when you foster a child rather, you are paid by the state to, take care of the kid, and especially children with special needs. So people will get these kids and do the bare minimum to raise these kids. And then especially like little black boys, a lot of them end up in the dope game, end up stealing, robbing, especially out of foster care, because foster parents hate little black boys. And you see it in the stuff that they do to them. Like, oh, you didn't clean all the dishes. Okay, so you won't eat tomorrow.
Right.
And people say like, oh man, that's jacked up. No, it's worse than you think.
I mean, that's like, what was that? A couple years ago, there was that couple that
who starved their kids to death.
No. So they starved them. The neighbors were calling DFACs, and then they drove off of a cliff with all of them. Yeah. So they killed themselves and their kids.
I think it was two chicks had adopted all these little black boys. Yeah. Like two white women adopted a bunch of little black boys and killed them all.
Yeah, and people always use that. There's always foster care and there's always adoption. Not realizing
it's horrible.
Foster care. First off, like you said, those people don't have to give. I grew up in I was fostered by some friends of the family and some relatives, and at various points, there were some people who kept me and they treated me like they're one of their kids, and there are some people who kept me and it was like, so our kids are getting McDonald's and you eat whatever in the fridge, and I'm like, only baking sodas in the fridge. And they're like, I said what I said. So that it's like at that point, there's no real reason to say, well, there's foster care, because a lot of bad stuff is happening. There's a lot of neglect and abuse in foster care. So why do you want a child to be alive for that? You want to be so pro-life that you're pro-abuse. That's it. To me, pro-life is
pro-abuse.
It's not necessarily that it goes to there, but it's like you're also you're not
opening that door.
Yeah, you're not taking into consideration that this is pro abuse, this is pro molestation, this is pro child death.
Man, so back when my mom was doing this, the amount of kids that were getting molested was ridiculous. And you would sit down and think like, oh man, she's a little girl, she's about 13, I gotta watch out for her. She might not be the person that's getting molested. Like she might get touched once or twice, but people are molesting little boys, especially little black boys, at an alarming rate. I've never been molested, and it's because my mom, I did get molested when I was a kid, but it was by another kid who was being molested by an adult. It was a little girl. I was like 3.
So they didn't. So it's 5. Not like it's molested.
It wasn't like she was doing it out of like, oh man, I'm doing this for sexual pleasure, but it let my mom know someone is doing this in front of this kid and this is wrong. And my mom caught me when the girl grabbed my penis. And so we were playing hide and go seek. My mom found us, and then my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "The girl said she want to play house." I'm 3. The girl is 5, and she says, "Yeah, we play a house like my mommy and daddy." She had seen her parents have sex in front of her, just in front of her. You know what I'm saying? So like, and then you see all types of stuff, man. Them kids grow up, they have just horrible lives. They fight. They deal with other kids making.
That's what I was gonna say. In foster care, you have to fight other kids too, because there's the kids that were already there, and they feel like you're the resource. You're now splitting into their resources, and this they're like, this is a sweet gig for me. You got to go, so they'll try to do whatever to get you in trouble, so that the parents are like, well, this person's not working out.
It's so bad. I've seen situations of kids being like, I'm glad this other kid is here, because now that he's here, I won't be the one getting molested.
So much abuse or molestation. Yeah. And then there's the other one where it's like, this is so working so well for me. This kid's probably gonna mess it up.
Yeah, like it's when it comes to foster care, man, them kids catch it. So if I see somebody, I don't like this. This is gonna sound weird, but if I see another race adopt a kid of our race, and they are doing a not a false good job like that, like those two ladies with all the kids, but a genuine good job, like Angelina Jolie. A lot of people dislike Angelina Jolie because she she stole somebody's husband, but she's also given kids years of longer life.
What was it? One of them was from like
Sudan or something.
It was like one of her kids, their whole family was wiped out in like a hurricane in the Philippines, and then like another one. It's like, so these
are kids who would die on the streets.
Yeah,
and she did her thing. So you really got to look at what when you judge people, you have to judge them for what they are. In that aspect of why you're judging them, like there are a lot of teachers and coaches and people who you would think like, oh man, this is a good person, and they are straight deplorable people.
Oh yeah,
and you don't know it, and you're thinking like, oh man, he needs a strong male around him. No, you need a positive male around him. A strong male and a positive male are not
two
the same
different
thing.
things.
Not the same. Like I've always been like, you know me, I try to do a lot for the community, and it's not like on a whole like, hey man, I'm going down to the shelter. Nah, like I'll buy pizza during the summer. If I'm out and I see these kids always going to the park, they sit in the park. I've seen these kids sit in the park 8 hours at a day, not leave the park because their mom is at work and she locked the door, and they sitting in there and they go, they trying to figure out where they can go to the bathroom. They doing all that stuff. I'm the type of person I'll be like, okay, well it don't cost nothing for me to get 3 little Caesar pizzas and just leave them for them on the park. You know what I'm saying? And I've done that since I was 18. When I got old enough to realize like I can afford to pay for my own food, my sister's friends ain't ate all day, so I'm paying for my sister's friends to eat. And then my sister's friends, younger siblings were out there, and they looked at me like, okay, Sterling, our big bro. So if a kid tells me they hungry, I'm gonna feed you, because no matter what, everyone deserves the basic life needs. I think there's
even if I don't like you, I'll feed you. Now we can fight after you eat, but I don't think anybody should go hungry. Hunger is a feeling that I just don't think anybody should go through.
Yeah, there's a needs assessment, or it's a chart. It says like the basic needs you need to live, and you need to be full. You need to have a comfortable place to sleep, because sleep affects your growth. But one of the things a lot of people don't understand is you need positive affirmations. And because if you raise a child and you never give this child positive affirmations, that child is dead already. They've died inside. They are no longer going to choose to succeed because they don't know that it's an option for them to succeed. So all they assume is like, well, this is my life. This is where I'm going to be. They told me that my dad sold drugs. I'm going to sell drugs. So that's what they do. They say my mama did crack, so I'm going to do crack.
I had a neighbor, and this, oh my goodness, this is the most I've ever been mad at somebody for like how they were raising their kid. I had a neighbor. It was, and it was the grandma, the mom, and then there was a little daughter, and her daughter and my daughter used to play. And I went to go get my daughter one day, and the daughter from the next door apartment, she said something like, "When I get older, I'm gonna buy a house for you, mommy." And other parents, you listen, you're like, "Oh, that's so cute." And her mom goes, when you get older, we're still gonna be here." And I was like, why would you tell her that? I'm like, this, first off, this is an apartment. You don't want to at least put the dream of owning a house in her head.
Moving to a nicer complex.
You know what I'm saying? A condo at the very least. Like I was like, why would you?
This is it for you.
That's what I said. I said, why would you tell her like this is all there is? And she was like, because there is. This is as good as it gets. I had to leave immediately, and I never let her watch my daughter ever again after that, because I didn't want that rubbing off. Like, don't ever. I just don't understand. If that's what you do to a kid, you shouldn't have had the kid.
Yeah, for real.
If you are going to raise that kid to tell them that they can't do any better than you shouldn't raise that kid. You probably shouldn't have had him, but if you had him, you should probably let somebody else raise him, because at no point, my daughter could tell me anything. I've told you this before. One time I had a conversation with somebody who was they were like, well, what if your daughter decides to grow up and be a stripper? And I was like, well, my advice to her is to be the chick on the flyer.
Yeah.
Be the one they pay the cover charge. Yeah, be the one they pay the cover charge to see. Don't be just one of the chicks don't be just one of the bottle girls.
Yeah.
Be the one that they paid the cover charge to come see. Because my whole thing is whatever you decide to do with your life, whether I approve or not, I want you to do your best. Yeah. Yes. I want you to be the best if I had a son
who was selling dope, want him to be a kingpin.
Hey, don't be a corner boy. Don't be on the corner.
Yeah. Yeah. And I a lot of people do not get that, but I feel you on that. Cause like, if my daughter was to go be a stripper, I would probably be like, well, let's think this through. You like, what type of money are you trying to make?
Right.
And what type of lifestyle are you trying to live?
What's your hook that's going to get clients? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
What about you is going to make people pay attention to you? Okay, well, let's go do this then. And then I'm going to also give her like idea, like, okay, look, you can go strip in this club. You're not going to be safe. The money is real good there because it's dope money. You might get shot. You might get raped. So I'm always think about my child's safety. Yeah. So I'm gonna be like,
listen, I don't care about you stripping, but you can't strip here.
You can't strip here. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So I might be like, if my daughter was stripping and she was stripping in like Pink Pony, you know what I'm saying? Like stupid safe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Pink Pony, you wouldn't see nobody being a paperclip in there.
Pink Pony, she's basically just gonna be a glorified waitress.
For real.
She's basically a Waffle House waitress in a bikini.
Yeah, I wouldn't have no issue with it. Low key, halfway Magic City because it's so high level that you're not gonna see nothing pop off. My favorite strip club is Club Blaze. My daughter cannot strip there.
I feel you. And my favorite is Magic or not Magic City is Blue Flame. Mm-hmm. No way. My daughter cannot.
You can't strip no club I've seen people shoot dice at. You can't strip
where I know what happens in the VIP room.
Yeah, like so my homeboy owns a club. He owns Club Blaze on the south side, y'all. And we used to go there and we kick it, and it would be me and a bunch of people, just like women and men, just hanging out in the VIP room. We'll go buy, at the time I would buy a half ounce of weed and roll it up, and we go stand in the strip club and smoke.
Hold on, because I feel like that's gonna go someplace really interesting.
Okay,
but on staying on task real quick. So one of the things with the whole abortion issue that I keep hearing is that it's racially motivated.
Man, so okay.
Well, hold on. So before you go to that, because the crazy thing is, like, at first abortion clinics were opening up in the hood like crazy back in the 90s. True. Like it was like free clinics were really a front for abortion clinics, and free clinics were opening it up everywhere in the hood. So abortion back 25, 30 years ago was mainly to bring our population down.
If you go to the free clinic in the hood, it used to be, I remember when I was like 21, 22, and I went to the free clinic, and I wasn't going to, like, I didn't think I had nothing, but we were going because we thought this girl I was talking to was pregnant, and you could get the test free there.
Yep.
And so
free condoms
and everything. You know what I'm saying? So we went, and they had like STD testing signs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But they had real big abortion signs, like, hey, have you made a decision that like, it was like all these signs where when a woman walked in, it was like, are you questioning this baby? Because we don't think you need it. Like, it was low key like,
do you think you're ready?
Right. It was, do you want to get an abortion was said with the same comfortable vibe of, hey, you want to hit this blunt?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so
chill. I'm going to the store real quick. You trying to get an abortion?
For real. Exactly. And it's ridiculous. So me and my girlfriend at the time went in, we got STD tests and everything, and it was cool. And the lady was like, if you ever need an abortion or anything, you ever, like, you come back here, we got your back. This was before everyone was buying Plan B. Mm-hmm. Like, you could get Plan B, but nobody was really buying it. And then
we didn't even, when Plan B first got in the pharmacies, they didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, they didn't tell anybody. You had to know about it.
Yeah, somebody had to hip you to Plan B at first.
I bought a Plan B like 9 months ago, and you can buy them at Target in the pharmacy section and not behind the counter.
You can buy them at Family Dollar now. You can buy Plan B at Family Dollar now.
They put them in those little silver, they have like these clear boxes with the silver bottom where they run the little magnet thing and it unhooks it, the security case. And they have Plan B in Target on the shelves in the security case because they know people were stealing them. And with the way the abortion law is now, it's going to get like that because you can take so many birth control pills and it'll actually work like a Plan B. But a Plan B does different stuff. And you can take enough Plan Bs and have an abortion.
It's about to be a bunch of accidental pushes downstairs. Falls down on high walls.
There's vitamin cocktails and some herbs stuff that you can, and they got a guide online that you can mix together and give yourself an abortion at home. And it would literally do the exact same thing as the pill and terminate your pregnancy at home. And the downside is when you deal with stuff like that and you're not in medical care, you don't have a follow-up. When you go to abortion clinic, they usually will ask you for a follow-up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people don't go back, but they always tell you like, hey, if you dealing with anything, come back. And they're telling you because, hey, you're losing an organ inside of you at this point. You're losing another body. And everything
you're naturally disrupting one of your body's processes.
Yes, and everything that's attached to that. So you got the amniotic sac, all this stuff. That's you're tampering with that,
right?
That's a medical, that you might require medical assistance later. So when you're risking all this stuff at home, why wouldn't the better option to be able to say, hey, I need to go to, even if it's government
I need medical care. Yeah. I need somebody, because I need the checkups. I need to make sure that everything is.
You can buy a dick pump on insurance. Several insurance plans will not let you get
an abortion.
So
real quick, just on this little segue of what you can do with my granddaddy, I'll never forget when I got married, I brought my wife home. And we went to my granddaddy's, and he sat down, and he was like, when I was about your age, I made a promise to myself that if there was ever a day that came that my dick stopped working, I was just going to eat pussy for the rest of my life. He said, and I got to being about 60 years old, and I tasted my first pussy, and I decided I didn't like it. So he went, and he got a procedure done where he got a battery basically put in his nutsack. They took out the actual balls and put in a battery pack. And then he had like a little mechanical. So all he had to do was press on his left nut and it would go and, raise this thing. And then he pressed on the right one. It would. Now, the reason I know this is because he decided to drop trowel right in front of me and my new at the time wife and show us how it worked. And The craziest, when you said that, the craziest thing was the thing he was most proud of, not the fact that he still gets full erections, not the fact that his batty power and it can go all like the thing he was most proud of is my insurance paid for this. I was like, are you serious? You mean to tell me old men can get battery powered dicks on insurance?
There is and you
can't get an abortion.
You can't get an abortion. And it's like sex is at that point is pleasure, yo.
Yeah, there's no biological purpose for it whatsoever.
Once your penis has stopped working, them sperm ain't good either. You know what I'm saying? Like you might as well.
You're not even going to be around to actually raise the kid. You've given your best years to whatever the hell else you were doing 20 years ago, and you think you want to put a kid in there?
Yes. There is a implant now that you get, and it's a tube that they run along the bottom of your penis, inside of your penis, and like it never looks different, and it goes up and it goes around your sack. And but it doesn't go through your sack. It goes like around the top of it, and it goes over to like your pelvis. And it's a little ball you press in your pelvis to pump your dick back up, because it's a lot of people who can't get hard, and they've put so much medical thought into ways where I can pump my dick, get hard. No one even know I have a non-functioning penis on insurance. And this lady can't get an abortion to save her or this kid's life.
Because it's going to kill both of them if she has this baby.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
That's super nuts to me. And then
this ain't even your body. Like,
and going back to the whole racial aspect of it. So now, the reports are that the Caucasian race is shrinking.
Yeah,
because with
race safe sex, race mixing, there's so many things that are weakening, their spawn rate. Right. We're nerds,
Right.
It's hard, when I'm gonna tell you like this, a black nut is always gonna roll a D20 on 20.
Oh yeah.
Like no matter what happens,
you've never heard
that baby somebody is black
you've never heard somebody refer to somebody as half white ever in
life.
Never. Nobody's ever half white. They might be half black, they might be half Chinese, they might be half whatever, but they're never half white because instantly, as soon as you mix something else with white people don't even think that white people don't even acknowledge that you're white anymore. You're
whatever that
other thing,
yeah. So you gotta people don't. The only time I've seen it is when someone is like, I'm half Asian,
right?
And they're like,
I'm half Asian and white.
Yeah.
But so with that, the theory is that abortion is being outlawed because white men want to make sure
that they stay on top.
That the white race continues to.
So racism makes sense. And I'm gonna tell you why racism makes sense, and it's gonna make a lot of people mad, but you're gonna understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not racist. I don't believe in racism, but
but what about racism and pregnancy? That's the thing that don't make racism makes sense, but racism and pregnancy.
Racism, from the white man's perspective, is him looking at the world, saying, "I can't adapt. I cannot get better at this situation." So instead of me realizing that I can't get better at this situation, I will make the person who is on top, and that's not just black. Mm. There are Hispanics that are better than people and stuff. There's Asians that are better than people and stuff. But the white race, when they got to the point where they were like white power, they tell you it is for the preservation of the race. That is literally in their thing. Mm-hmm. We're trying to preserve our race.
That was the Unite the Rights whole thing. It was like, this is about the unification and preservation of
mm-hmm.
They try to say the right, but it's like, you mean the white?
The white. That's it. Like when you sit up here and you go, at any moment, every white person in the world can fuck or have a kid by any other race, and we can literally wipe them out in one generation.
Yeah.
If they just do that, that's it. And we're not being racist. We're just saying these are things that happen. I got, one of my grandmas is white. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mixed, but
I think I'm an eighth Irish because one of my grandparents is Irish.
Mm-hmm.
At no point,
I'm black. What I'm saying?
At no point does that come into play. Like at no point, if a cop pulls me over and pulls a gun on me, can I go, whoa, my grandmother was Irish?
Yeah, that's not.
And they go, oh, well, you're fine.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know, but my girlfriend is half white. And has she ever claimed white in front of you? Nope. She is more black than she is pro-black, actually.
Matter of fact, and
hates white people.
I was gonna say, what's crazy to me? Most people that I know that are half white, half black. Not most
mm-hmm.
people that I know. Let me stop saying that. But most people that I know that have a strong dislike for mm-hmm. white people are usually mixed.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
But no, okay. So before we end, though, back
it's
on the
your
top,
body.
It's your body.
No law should be able to dictate your body.
Women should be able to make the call of what is best for them and the child. Mm-hmm. I believe that wholeheartedly because one, you've got to raise it. So if you know you're not going to be a good mother, if you know that you're not going to give this child all of the love and attention and care that it needs, and you feel like, hey, I should probably get rid of it before I do something, like drop it in a garbage, like Brenda had a baby. I think that should be totally up to the woman.
They want your kids to grow up so that they can get shot in a school shooting.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can really show the rest of the world.
The prison population.
How good a Glock works.
The prison population.
It's all a commercial for Glock. And that's really what the abortion thing is. It's just a commercial for Glock. Because they, they're like, hey, I know you could have saved your life and that kid's life earlier. But look at the way he explodes when this Glock hits him. Like that's how I feel like the right sees it, and that is Effa Podcast.
All right, well, this has been Effa Pod. This has been a very special episode.
Yes.
Of Effa Podcast.
It is your body, And this is our podcast.
I am the legendary Sonny G.
And I am Sterling Moody.
And you can find us on Trap Nerd ENT on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And you can find Sterling at Sterling Moody.
At Sterling Moody on Instagram, at the Trap Buddha on Twitter. You can find Sonny at
Trap Nerd Sonny on every damn thing.
Yep.
Y'all be cool like y'all be cool.
Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast. This is the legendary Sonny G, and thank you for tuning in to Effa Podcast. You can also go ahead and follow us at Trap Nerd ENT on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can also go to our Patreon if you enjoy what we do and make a donation. Patreon.com/TrapNerdENT, and be on the lookout for future events. Sign up for our email list at trapnerdent@gmail.com. Again, thank you for listening. Y'all be cool like how y'all be cool.